Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Careers in Psychology video series. This is designed for RIT Dubai students who are interested in the BS program in psychology. My name is Dr. John McCarthy. I am a professor of psychology at RIT Dubai. And today, I am very pleased to be joined by Dr. Vedrana Medina, who is a licensed psychologist and is the Associate Director of Counseling at New York University, Abu Dhabi. Dr. Vedrana is also the UAE Chapter Director of the Middle East Psychological Association. Dr. Vedrana, thank you so much for joining me today.
John, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here and help in this capacity.
And today we're going to be talking about questions that students interested in psychology may be asking.
Yeah.
And one of those questions, Dr. Vedrana, may be, I'm interested in majoring in psychology. What could I do with a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology in terms of career?
Well, there's so many possibilities. First of all, it's a great choice to make, but I do understand, I know it from myself, and I also know it from young aspiring psychologists, such as your students, that, there may be some doubts, maybe families are not too happy with that choice because, psychology is not traditionally a job that, one would choose in terms of, what is a mainstream choice in many parts of the world, including this part of the world. So that can create some of our own doubts. What one can do, it's actually a very eclectic profession. And by that, I mean, you can fit into many different working environments. And even if you decide to do something else later, after the bachelor's degree in psychology, majoring in psychology on undergraduate level, it's a very useful background to have. It's a very useful foundation to have, no matter what you end up doing later in life. Knowing about human behavior, about the way we think, we feel is useful for any setting. And so you just can't go wrong with it. And in terms of mainstream sort of jobs that one could have, majoring in psychology is definitely, working in clinical settings. If people decide to get qualified in clinical psychology later, educational settings, schools, there's educational psychology, social psychology, industrial psychology. There's so many. You can go into corporate world, you can go into world of, like I said, education, clinical, but also now, the booming industry of wellness also is a huge opportunity for psychologists as well.
Dr. Vedrana, you chose a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. And as I mentioned, you work in the counseling center at New York University, Abu Dhabi. Can you give us a sense of what it's like to work in a counseling center in your profession?
Well, first of all, it's never boring. I can tell you that. I love that. Basically, you never know what's coming on a given day. By that, I mean, look, it's a university, it's a school, it's a very dynamic place with dynamic people who, are highly gifted and motivated. And of course, that can also put a strain on the well-being, wanting to do so many things all at the same time and having maybe sometimes limited resources or just limited amounts of energy for that. So working in a counseling center at university, for me, is really in a positive way challenging as a clinician. So I get to use all of my skills. So we don't deal only with one set of problems, like people come with a variety of problems. So, I do get to see a lot of different cases, different disorders or different challenges. every single day. We do also get to manage crisis, and that can range from serious to moderate or minor, but still these are things we can't predict during the day, so it keeps us on our toes. And just knowing that, we are supporting young people on their journey of education, of growth, and success, really it makes the whole difference for me every single day. And even when it's a little bit difficult or too much, it can get packed in terms of schedule at times, depending on the time of the semester. Obviously, around exam time is particularly intense. What helps me is knowing that, that this is an investment in young people, and returns are just always big and great. And I think it's worth it.
You are a licensed clinical psychologist, and the
Correct.
word license is important there. Can you tell us a little bit about the licensing process in the UAE and whether a person with a master's degree can become licensed as a psychologist as well?
Sure. I mean, it sounds technical, obviously, having a license, but it's just like, with driver's license, like you just can't drive a car without it, right? It is something that is a necessity. Education is important, your degree is important, but also that it gets verified and it gets acknowledged, by the Ministry of Health, for example, or Department of Health. I just want to mention briefly that, what I always telling myself when I'm, thinking about licensing, and sometimes, it's a lot of work to get it done. There's really a huge benefit in this being a serious process. It's because it protects our profession. It protects the patients as well. It protects people from being subjected to malpractice, people who are not qualified. And so actually it's good for all of us. And so it's worth the process. To get licensed, for example, in UAE, there's a set of requirements that are, quite, clear. It is done in Abu Dhabi through Department of Health of Abu Dhabi. Similarly, in Dubai, it would be Department of Health of Dubai. Here, the minimum degree that you need to get licensed as a clinical psychologist or psychologist of other specialty is master's degree. As far as I know, for clinical psychology, I know for sure. For other ones, I believe it's the same. The UAE nationals, they can actually get licensed even with bachelor's degree as assistant psychologists. That is open to UAE nationals, but not for other nationalities. So that exists as well. And I'm sure, as your students know, there are different programs, not too many in the country, but there are programs in the country for getting the master's degree in clinical psychology. And newly also there's an offer for a master's degree in counseling psychology, which is also a very nice degree to have. And so, yeah, it's a process, and it requires paperwork. It requires, some time to be done, and an exam that one has to take, which is a very fair kind of exam in terms of clinical knowledge. And then once you're done, you're licensed. From then on, you just have to maintain the license, and that is always done by continued education, a certain number of hours every 2 years, and you just keep it up.
Dr. Vedrana, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights into the field of psychology.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and good luck to all of your students in reaching their goals in psychology.